Gilman, Colorado, sits along the edge of Battle Mountain, high on a cliff above the Eagle River, at an elevation of 8,950 feet. It began in 1886, born from the Colorado silver boom and a rush that drew miners from far and wide toward Leedsville, all in search of the glimmer of silver. Trails became roads, and those roads led to new pockets of mining. Speculation and a town began to take shape on the rocky hillside. By 1889, Gilman housed about 300 people. It had a school, a boarding house, and even a newspaper, little institutions that kept bustling miners near at hand. As the years passed, the town grew a little, a few hundred souls working the mines, a grocery store, a bowling alley, and an infirmary enriching the lives of those who called Gilman home. Gilman's fortunes were never simple. The world outside its valley was volatile. The silver crash of 1893 shuttered many mines for a time, and a fire in 1899 ravaged much of this town, destroying a number of buildings. Strikes and shifting demand for various mined materials further battered the community. Yet life pressed on in the rough and beautiful place perched above Battle Mountain, where the mountain road could still be seen from inside the town, and the road itself curved away in a lifeline around the mountains. The years were on, and the mines began to close, not merely from dwindling demand, but from something more insidious, contamination that would come to define Gilman long after the bustle faded. Groundwater became poisoned, the land silenced by the waste of mining operations. By 1984, the town was abandoned in name and in life, a ghost town nested on a cliff with the echoes of its former residents fading into the wind. The hand that finally sealed Gilman's fate came in the form of a purchase by the Battle Mountain Corporation. In 1985, the company evicted the remaining population after buying the land that had long sustained the town. The burden of the mine's legacy, 8 million tons of mine waste, was recognized at last in a sweeping federal action. The Environmental Protection Agency designated 235 acres in and around Gilman as a Superfund Site, acknowledging a toxic landscape that could not be ignored. What remains of Gilman tells a quiet, stubborn story. Worn, modest homes, painted orange, green and blue, dot the rocky hillside with dirt roads winding between them. The past lingers in the air, in the memory of children who once laughed and workers who had their shifts, the very essence of a place that had a beating heart and a soul that lived in the voices of those who called it home. Gilman is more than a ruin. It's a story of a community that rose in the glow of silver, faced the consequences of its industry, and still speaks through the land, through the warning signs, and through the quiet remains of the buildings and roads, and through the people who remember.
Look at this view.
We came here 10 years ago and found Gilman in a different light. Today you can see more graffiti and damage, and that's not something to celebrate. This town deserves to be left as it is, untouched and preserved.